What a spectacular game of cricket. Welcome back to Cricket Buzz, and we are here. West Indies have managed to score 321 for 7, and we have a tie, gentlemen. With me to discuss it, Ajay Jadeja and Zahir Khan. Jad, what a game of cricket.
Oh, what a game. I mean, looking at West Indies, what's been happening in the past, who would say that they would be getting anywhere close to 321 except Mr. Zahir Khan? You know,
and what did Mr. Zahir Khan say exactly they needed to do?
No, I said if at all West Indies has a chance of winning this game, then what are the things which should be going towards in West Indies' favour? And that was basically, you know, one guy anchoring the innings, so which we saw that. We saw that Shai Hope scoring that 123 runs, facing 134 deliveries. But you have a look at around that what happened. Around that, all the batsmen have batted at 133 strike rate, 130 strike rate, 140 strike rate. So that's what happens. Like, you know, when you have one person anchoring the inning and one person like Hetmeyer playing that blinder of an innings, then you will see something like this. All the calculations have gone out of the window because of the brilliance of the strike rate and the approach which they had. And Dew also was supposed to be a factor, which it proved that if Dew was a factor and these things happen West Indies way, then they'll have a good day, and that's what happened.
Well done.
So he got the conditions right. If this happens, so hota na those clauses. So usne sab apna clause dal diya tha ki
look,
century
looking at West Indies team and how they've been going so far, and how the track record and the history shows, the sensibility was not really available in their camp. You know, which was seen from someone like Shai Hope. And if West Indies approaches this way and have these kind of presence of mind and situational awareness on the field, then they can come up with these kind of results. That's what everyone has been talking about. So that's something which is very important for a team to look ahead, look at the future matches, like how Holder was also talking in that press conference. Take the positives. They have certainly taken the positives from the previous game.
Last 2 overs, okay, given what the situation was, 15-16 to win, 2 overs to go, 20 to win. So it was literally 10 and over. My question is, who would be more disappointed at the end? Would it be Virat Kohli or will it be Jason Holder?
I think it will be Jason Holder, because not just in the last 2 overs, like you said, I would take it back to probably last 15-20 overs with when almost 100 balls, 100 runs to get, with 2 guys going at the pace they were at that stage. From there, only it was West Indies who could lose this game. Where the way I looked at it, and I thought, you know, West Indies had no chance, was I was looking at what would happen from first over to 35th over. I wasn't even looking this far. So they played exceptionally well, and it was only West Indies who lost this game. I think India would probably, be happy at this stage with a tie, because from no stage after 30 odd overs or 40 overs or 45th over, there was no stage that India was in this game. It was only that India was brought back into the game with that little hope that you got with that wicket. Jason Holder, who actually played smartly, but you know, he held the innings together. He thought he'll finish it, then he got out. So India kept coming back into the game. India had scored runs. For me, there were enough runs. I didn't count the Dew. I didn't count many other things. But once 35 overs or 40 overs were done, I think it was only West Indies who could lose this game, and they would be the disappointing team, not India.
Question for you. Umesh, Shami, both are not really known as death bowlers. They haven't really proven themselves in the past as death bowlers. Their performance today, they sort of dragged India back into the game. Literally, those last 4-5 overs were fairly good, bar a couple of deliveries here and there. Were you happy with their performance?
I think under pressure, they did fantastically well. You know, you've seen Shami and Umesh both having a clear plan. Like, you know, they were very clear that there was a Dew factor, so they didn't really go for too many slower ones. They focused more on the Yorkers, which was the right thing to do.
Let's take a look at the bowling card right now.
They mixed those back of the line deliveries as well. So something which at times, when you bowl under these kind of pressure situations, these things really give you confidence. I think, you know, these kind of performances, yes, from the top, you look like, you know, they've been leaking runs. Umesh has been on the expensive side, but when it mattered, you know, when it mattered that the game would have gone and that situation, they, I think, reacted well.
Yeah, you think so too?
Yeah, I think they did pretty well. I mean, compared to what we've seen them in the past, they've looked better bowlers in the last 3-4 overs. The middle stages when they came on to bowl, I didn't see anything new. What we've seen in the past. I mean, you know, the ability and the quality of Umesh Yadav. We see that at the top of the innings every time. The limited over version, or the white ball cricket as it's called, That middle stage, you didn't see that. But at the end, like Zach said, I think they, they held their nerves. Because normally a youngster or somebody who's very experienced, they lose it when the game becomes that close, 2 for 20. I don't think there was a single bad ball or ball that they weren't trying to bowl. They executed every ball where they wanted. Then there's a batsman at the other end. What he does, it's beyond your control. So whatever you expect an international bowler or bowler with that kind of experience to do, they did exactly what they could. And I mean, at the end of the day, last 2 overs 20, you're playing against West Indies or you're playing a Popatwadi 11. The opposition has a chance because it's such a short game then.
One edge, one nick, anything can happen.
So that is, and so there I could only see the nerves and what they did. But in the middle stages where you would still say that there is room for improvement.
Talking about the middle stages, Kuldeep was a man who literally clawed us back into contention in this game. How was he as a bowler? How would you rate him? He's come back. This is
superb. I think today he was phenomenal. Even though he's been on the expensive side, but the reason was the dew, and the fact that even if dew was a factor and he was still able to get that bite was something commendable. And I did feel that when you have just 5 bowler as options, at times that 6th bowling option in these kind of situation can be handy. But today that choice was not there, so all the 5 bowlers had to react, and that's something which is a relieving factor, because as Ajay was saying, the game had gone. When that partnership was building 143 runs between Hope and Hetmeyer, I think at that stage it was West Indies game to lose, and that's something to pull back from that is great to all the bowlers, I would say.
No, one question though, you're absolutely right. The 5 bowlers did the best they could, and all of them pitched in at some point or the other. They might have leaked in the front, but they sort of came to the party in the end. The big question is, obviously 5 bowlers is something that Virat has now been using for a while. He's not had the luxury of a 6th or a 7th. Where does this go? Do you see India now turning around and saying, look, we've got to change our plans. Probably we need a little more in the bowling mix. Kedar Jadhav did a wonderful job for us in many tournaments. Now we don't have that luxury of, so the captain can only decide when to bowl whom. He can't decide whom to bowl. At the end, he's got to bowl 10 of each. So is that a problem that India will be looking to redress at all, or will they say, hey, that's okay, we'll live with these 5 bowlers?
I think a lot depends on the captain. There are different captains, they look at things differently. So if you are a captain who, chops and changes bowlers at different stages, then you all like more options because you could, use them at different stages. I don't see that with Virat till now, what we've seen. He likes to stick with a pattern. He likes to bowl bowlers at a certain period of time. Today, although we saw a little different, you saw Chahal not bowling through the middle. He bowled in a different way. You saw fast bowlers coming back in the middle of the innings, which is not something that we've seen in the past. So if he's thinking of playing or captaining a side in a different way, then it's always good to have a 6th bowler. Maybe even if it's for 2 overs. And it's not that the 6th bowler isn't there. There is a gentleman called Rohit Sharma. When he captains himself, he bowls in 2020.
Yeah, he's got hat-tricks in
T20. So it depends that whether the captain wants to use you. Are you giving captain enough confidence? Are you bowling in the nets? Are you in his ear all the time? Or in the bus? You forgot about me. There are ways of getting it. So the captain has to get that feel from you as well, that you are keen to bowl. But with Virat, what we've seen in his captaincy is that he likes to stick to his main 5. There are jobs that you need to do, and he expects you to do it, and if you can't do it, then he says too bad.
So Zach, 2 very different captains. I mean, Dhoni is clearly a captain who likes to have 7, 8 options, and he'll bowl somebody today, he won't bowl somebody at all the next day, but he needs those options in hand. Virat, on the other hand, always walks in with a clear game plan. Are they very different as captains?
No, I think also the choice is available. If you look at the squad as well, the all-round choice is not there. Hardik being injured, Kedar being injured. So that 6th bowling option has to be in the form of all-rounder. It can be it cannot be out and out bowler as an option. So that's something which he is, I think, figuring out in terms of what if the choices are not available. Then what kind of approach team should have, what kind of combination team should play, and these are the questions which he's trying to answer to himself, and the management is also looking at it. Having said that, I think today when you have 5 good bowlers, they are supposed to do job. It's just that, you know, that injury risk which you're taking in the match. Apart from that, you would expect that, you know, 5 genuine bowlers should be able to do the job on any given day. To my surprise, I think the wicket played much better in the second half.
Yeah, I mean,
so to India's credit, they've scored in tough conditions those 320 runs, and the wicket, because of the nature of the wicket change, how it was behaving, it changed. It became that much easier for West Indies to kind of put pressure on Indian bowlers.
So basically, also you're saying that whatever Virat did get right, what he definitely got wrong was the toss.
I mean, maybe, I mean, you know, on the hindsight,
no,
but if you look at that 15-over mark, you know, they were pretty much in control of the game. You know, from 15 overs, when you have 3 wickets down, you would expect that the middle overs, when Kuldeep and Chahal comes, if there is help on offer, which there was on offer in the first innings, if the similar kind of help was on offer, then things would have been different. But these are the situations, these are the conditions which you have no control over. So once you are in it, how your bowlers react matters a lot. And I think, you know, today they must be relieved that they didn't have to face the loss. So even a tie is a good result because they reacted to the situation.
I wanted to ask you one thing. You know, once he goes back to the dressing room, when Hetmeyer actually switches on his phone, how many calls do you expect from IPL agents on that phone?
I think he's already signed up. We thought we talked about it last time.
Okay, before the man of the match comes, it's already been done by now.
He's a man that will be.
What was that innings all about? Fabulous.
Fabulous. I mean, he's got 100 last game. So you'd seen it, and you think, sorry, you think that, you know, it's one off.
94 of 64.
Yeah, and then he betters that. Yeah. You know, this inning was a far superior innings. Last inning was a lot of shots off the fast bowlers, off the mid-off covers, which is natural to them. Spin is something that he struggled. Test match, they were talking about, he didn't pick. Although the 2 sixes that he hit to Kuldeep Yadav both were full tosses, but he still used his feet to get to those balls and make them into full tosses. He hit a couple of 1 6 off Ravindra Jadeja. He picked him up. Then he hit 1 off Chahal. He used his feet. So he's shown something better, because mostly the West Indian players who come to IPL are fabulous players, but if there is a weakness, they struggle against spin. Some Brathwaite or certain players. But this man is showing that no, I'm better. It was 80 or 90 ball 100 last inning. This is 60 ball 100. Now I play against spin as well. So he's the contender. He's the man for your auction. When you have the auction, everybody is going to be wanting him. There's
and
no
Shai Hope, very contrasting. Shai Hope obviously kept himself in check in the beginning, waited. Hetmeyer was going well. He didn't bother. But the interesting part was, even towards the end, 123 runs, 134. Do you think he could have farmed the strike a bit better in the end? Because he was clearly not batting in the last few overs, last 5 to 6 overs. He wasn't getting the majority of the strike. Was that deliberate, or, you know, just happened?
I think, you know, he's been given a specific role in this batting lineup. In the last game also, you saw that his main approach to the innings in terms of building his innings was mainly to rotate the strike. And today also, if you look at how he's gone about his business, even in the later stages of the innings, he was not really looking to take chance. Like, you know, he would always take those low risk short options, and that's something which was very evident. So I feel that it's a specific role given to Shai Hope, and you would see him bat in this fashion, because that gives the other batsmen the freedom to bat at the strike rate which we've been talking about. That was evident in the Guwahati match, and it's evident in this match as well.
He shouldn't have been on strike the last ball. I mean, if you want to be very critical and go detailed on the field, I mean, because since you talked of being on strike, he wasn't farming the strike. But the 5th ball, you know, with 7 runs to win, the new guy at the other end, as a team, you got to make sure that the guy doesn't get back on strike. So, and there was a fine fielder there. I mean, I didn't see him throw.
Exactly.
So these are little things that India will improve. They will improve with experience. But these are the things that make a difference. So, you know, when you talk about 100, 5 wickets at the end, imagine if he didn't come back to strike, India would have won the game and were not tied. Or on the other side, West Indies would think, oh, if we'd got 1 more strike, we would have won the game. But that only happens when you let the game go till the end. And I think that is what, if you see the number of overs that spinners have bowled in the last 15 compared to the first 35, you held everything back as well. So there are many things that you can look at this game.
That's a great point actually Ajay is making, and by this logic, you know, you should have extra fielder saving single for Shai Hope. because that's the role which he's having in this batting lineup. So
your best fielders don't stay as boundary riders; they come in.
Absolutely, and whenever he's on strike, as he approaches his innings, as captain, you have to have fielders in single saving position, because that's his role. You have to force him to do things differently. You have to force him to play that big shot early in his innings, and that's something which is his role doesn't allow him to do. So you have to put that kind of pressure on him to do. Make those kind of errors.
If you're listening to that in the Indian dressing room, that's really, really valuable advice. But one more, we're going to have a look at what are we going to do for the next 2 matches. So, next 3 matches, the squad is going to be announced again. What changes do you expect to see?
I don't see many rejections they can do from here, because we've been seeing that. That's what's been happening.
So here's the look at the 11.
Because at the end of the game, if it didn't get this close, you would think they'd probably look at Umesh and Shami and say, "Oh, they're not good enough for one-day cricket." But they've shown what they've got better. Rohit is a man that can't change. Shikhar has had one inning. Virat bats. Raidu's done as well as he can. MS Dhoni is as good as he's ever been. Rishabh Pant
injury is fine.
Hasn't had enough time.
Yeah.
So Ravindra's done fairly well since coming back into one-day cricket. Kuldeep is your future, and you're looking at Shami and Umesh were the only 2 guys you had brought in from nowhere, because they were nowhere in the scheme of things. So if you brought in such experienced players, so I'm hoping that they are there to become better and be ready for the World Cup. So not much you can change, unless if you're going to have a meeting, then you got to do something.
My only question to you is that, before this, if it was 2-0, maybe the Indians would be looking to experiment more with the 11. Now that it's 1-0 and a tied match, would they be saying that let's play our best side, let's not take any chances with this? You think they're going to be a bit more conservative and sort of play it straight from here?
I'm not expecting any changes. I think you would want to give confidence to Shami and Umesh both. So you would continue with the same kind of bowling lineup. You have rested your best bowlers. You've rested Bumrah. You've rested Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who that are going to be part of the World Cup side. Unless some injury puts them out. Otherwise, you see most of the batting lineup is also pretty much settled. So I'm not really expecting any changes in this squad.
Let's have a look at what the West Indians are going to look like, and they're also lining up out here. And this is what they played in this 11. So McCoy here, you think he did his job today for the West Indians? And
he's looked good. I think he's got those variations which are required for white ball cricket. He bowls that back of the hand delivery. He could have almost got Virat Kohli out with that slower one, and the whole scenario of the match would have been completely different. But I think all in all, looks good prospect. I'm impressed with O'Shane Thomas as well. So and Roach has been bowling well in this match. Holder, captain himself, has playing that all-rounder role, so that kind of achieves that balance in the side as well. So all in all, I think they've got good resources, and these 2 matches certainly have proved that that this West Indies side can put up a fight. So looking forward for the remaining of the matches. At least they've proved that they can score 320, 300 plus runs consistently.
Yeah, they've certainly improved, but just for the Indian point of view, if there's no change, I mean, the viewers might not like this, because we love watching Virat Kohli bat. But what you could do is, you've got a Rishabh Pant who's a young man, and say Ambati Raidu who's just come back. You could probably have them bat at a different number, and the guys who are at the top come back and bat. So they're still in the side. You don't change the whole side, but you have these young kids. If you're giving opportunities to Umesh Yadav and Shami now to develop, which you've done after 5-10 years, that is what you need to be done, even with Rishabh Pant and Raidu. And Raidu's got enough time today, but I'm saying Rishabh Pant, MS can probably bat up the order one game, and Virat and Rohit, or one of them can go back. So that you can play differently as well. You don't need to change players, because ultimately, if you're going to take these players, say MS Dhoni, Rishabh Pant, and whoever you're going to take in the World Cup, you want to take them with a lot of confidence, with some runs behind them, with a little feel of the game. Because, Virat Kohli, Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma just don't give anybody an opportunity at the end. Then the numbers start looking bad. So if you want to make a side, if everybody is in that form, it'll look better. For a viewer, he might not enjoy it, because we'll miss out on Virat Kohli batting on that day. He won't even come to bat. But to build a side, you need to keep doing these things. When you have oppositions as weak as you have at the moment.
But thank you. But in its own way, it's a mouth-watering thought. The thought of having Rishabh Pant bat up the order and do something for India. It's really one of our more exciting batsmen out here. And it's time for just one thing left out here, which is the joy factor. So here is the question that we had, and we'll tell you the answer after that. So the question was, who is the first West Indian-born player to coach an IPL side? And Ajay, this one you've cracked obviously the first time you saw it.
Yeah, the old man. I call him the old man. He's the old man, but he was the youngest amongst a lot. Robin Singh, who he coached Deccan Chargers.
He started with the Deccan Chargers, then he moved to Mumbai. So he's been around a while, and almost in any league you go, CPL everywhere, you'll see Robin Singh in the dressing room, definitely.
He's the perfect ambassador for these leagues, because he was one of those who started 20 years ago, left home and went to another country
Came from Trinidad
to find